and welcome to Zambia at 60. My name is Alice Banda. This year, Zambia marks a significant milestone, 60 years of independence. To commemorate this occasion, we are joined on the program by the Executive Director of the National Food and Nutrition Commission of Zambia, NFNC, Dr. Mapani Muntanga in her office, who will share insights into the Commission's contributions over the past 6 decades in maintaining and improving the country's nutrition status. NFNC, established in 1967, serves as a key advisory body to the government, playing a crucial role in coordinating and overseeing the development, implementation, and evaluation of food and nutrition policies and programs across the country. Doctor, you're welcome to this interview.
Hello and welcome, and also welcome to your viewers.
The first question I'll pose to you, Doctor, is what is the role of the National Food and Nutrition Commission, and when was it established?
So the National Food and Nutrition Commission is a statutory body established under the laws of Parliament in Zambia. So it was established in 1967, as you alluded to in your introductory remarks. And then there was a new act that was put in place in 2020. So at the moment we are operating under the Act of 2020, Act number 3. And the Commission has been in effect therefore since 1967, continued in 2020. And our mandate as a commission under the government of Zambia is to be an advisory body to government on issues relating to food and nutrition, as well as to the Zambian population, so that we can have a thriving Zambian populace that is ready to take part in national development issues. So apart from that, we also participate and are an important and integral part of response to disasters when they happen in the country. At the DMMU, we head the nutrition cluster, and we are also part of the food security cluster. So among many things, those are some of the things we do. And I'll give another example. For example, when we had the cholera outbreak, we were involved in looking after cholera patients. We went into the stadium, worked with a nutritionist on the ground to advise patients on what food is best for them while they are sick in hospital, and even when they go back home, so that they can recover what they've lost. So our mandate is quite wide. We are also mandated to carry out research in terms of food and nutrition and many other things that we work on, even with Ministry of Education and many other stakeholders that we work with.
As Zambia celebrates 60 years of independence, how has the National Food and Nutrition Commission landscape evolved?
So historically, Zambia has not been doing very well in terms of nutrition. When we look back as early as before 2014, our stunting levels in Zambia were above 40%, meaning 4 out of every 10 children were stunted. And stunting does not speak to one factor. Stunting results from a chronic undernutrition. And there are many factors that feed into that. It means that these children who are stunted have been exposed to poor nutrition, poor sanitation, poor education, and so forth. So before 2014, our levels were as high as 40%. But over the last decade, we've managed to bring down that stunting level to about 35%. That's not where we want to be. We still want to take it further down. So in answering the question, how has Zambia fared? I think we've fared well, but not as good as where we want to be, because we want to bring those stunting levels very low, to below 20. Actually, if you ask me, I don't want any child in Zambia to be stunted, but because of our economic situation, drought situation, we still find quite a number of these children. 3 out of every 10 are stunted.
How has NFNC worked with government and other stakeholders to shape food and nutrition policies and programs in Zambia?
So NFNC, though we are formed under the Ministry of Health, we are a coordinating body. We coordinate all the actions in the country that look at nutrition. So we work with departments like health, we work with departments like community development. We are very much involved in the work that they do to coordinate the action in terms of where is the most help needed, where are the most vulnerable people in terms of food security, where are they? And our focus over the last decade has been the household, because we believe that if we sort out the household, then it means that we've sorted out that community, and inevitably we've sorted out Zambia. So one of our biggest push in food and nutrition security has been the household, where we make all these actions around food and nutrition converge. So our concentration has been in households with children under 5, households with mothers who are lactating, mothers who are breastfeeding, because we believe that this is a most critical window during which any intervention in terms of nutrition will make that big difference. So we've worked with various stakeholders, both government and from the cooperating partners. So in government, we cooperate with all ministries, because all ministries, you agree with me, converge at the household. For example, how do we cooperate with agriculture? We teach women and households how to have their backyard gardens, what food crops to grow, so that when they sit down, to eat their food at the table, they have a more balanced diet. We collaborate again with the Ministry of Livestock and Fisheries. We collaborate with the media itself, because it is the only avenue that we are going to reach people in the furthest parts of Zambia, those that we are not able to interact with on a one-on-one basis. So we work with everyone, both government and the cooperating partners, and the cooperating partners have played a very big role, because they've partnered with us in order to take the various programs that we've been doing in the country.
What are some of the cooperating partners apart from government?
Yes, so we mostly work with the United Nations, and the United Nations comprises of partners like UNICEF and WFP, FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization. We work with all these organizations under the United Nations. But we also have other partners who are not necessarily United Nations, like for example the Irish Embassy through the Irish Aid. We work with them, we collaborate with them on transformation of food systems. We work with GIZ, which is an organization from the German government that helps to fund some of our programs. We collaborate with the organizations like Action for Hunger and many others that are also working in the food space.
Many Zambians have little information about the nutritional values of their indigenous foods like kalembula, chimpapila, chihuahua, and also have bad eating habits. We have a situation where we have people with money who eat T-bone and shima for breakfast, chicken and shima for lunch, fried fish and shima for supper. What have you done about such issues as a commission?
Yes, I think that is a very important question. Very good question, because Zambia is endowed with a lot of indigenous foods. You can mention, you won't even finish. I remember growing up as a child in the village. My grandmother would simply go in the village, in the bush. She would come back with her chitenge tied with a lot of goodies. And from what she has picked in the bush, she would select what we'll have for breakfast, what we'll have for lunch, and what we'll have for supper. And we never had this issue of stunting or even malnutrition. We just subsisted on foods that were readily available in the bush, and some of them they used to grow. And these foods are very rich in nutrition, especially when eaten before they are processed, before you add too much salt to them, before you add too much oil to them. They are very nutritious, and we grew up like that. But now with the coming of civilization, I would say that, as you rightly said, people with money, we have tended to shun our indigenous foods and gone for foods that are highly processed, fast foods which are fried, foods which have a lot of sugar in them, ending up with a type of malnutrition that we call overnutrition, obesity, lifestyle diseases like diabetes, like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, even cancers have become more prominent in our environments because of our eating habits. So what are we doing about that? I would like to let your viewers know that from time to time we do broadcast programs just highlighting indigenous foods. I'll give you an example. Recently we were at the show, and those who came to our stand, we had displayed the various Zambian foods that are very nutritious, that even don't cost as much as the T-bone, as much as the fried fish. And these foods are very rich and readily available. So we highlighted these at the show. And from time to time, we do come on air and talk about them. We had one program where we specifically looked at fruits, just fruits. And you find that you go to one part of Zambia, you find they are eating the same fruit, called by a different name. You go to another part, again they are eating the same fruit, but called by a different name. And these are very nutritious, packed with nutrients, very colorful. You just pluck, wash, and eat. Some of them you don't even need to wash it. Like for example, a banana, you simply peel it and eat. So from time to time, we do come on air. We do conduct lessons in the communities to educate people. What we have done with our cooperating partners is also we've come up with a guide. It's called the Food-Based Dietary Guidelines, where we have recommended what foods people can eat in a 24-hour period in order for you to have a nutritious diet. We've even moved away from saying a balanced, because when we used to talk about a balanced diet, we were talking about three main groups of food. That is the carbohydrates, the proteins, and the vegetables. But over time, this has evolved. Now we are talking about a nutritious diet which contains 6 food groups. For children, we even add breast milk. Okay? So these food groups, what we are recommending is that people should eat within a 24-hour period at least food from each of those food groups. And if you allow me, I can just quickly mention the food groups. These include, the first food group is cereals, tubers, or roots. That's where you find your maize, your sweet potatoes, your cassava, and so forth. That is one group. Then the second one is a group made of legumes and nuts, your beans. And we have a big variety of beans in Zambia, the kablangeti, the white beans, the mbereshi beans, and so forth, which are endowed with a lot of nutrition, and nuts. Okay, that is the second group. The third group is a group made up of milk and other dairy products. Milk, there are various products, the sour milk, the cheese, and many others, okay? And then the fourth group is a group mainly made up of meat, fish, and poultry. That's where you find your fish, your chicken, your goat meat, and many other, meats. Let me also mention here that, other foods that are eaten in specific regions of this country. Like, for example, our colleagues from the East, they eat mbeva, okay? They eat mbeva. Our colleagues from the North, Copperbelt Province, they eat finkubala and so forth. All those are recognized as indigenous foods that are equally rich in protein. So they fall in this fourth group of meats. Then we have a group that is made up of vegetables. Green leaf vegetables, where your kalembula, your chibwabwa, your rape, cabbage, and all these are found. And within this group also we find a lot of our indigenous foods, like, for example, the ones you mentioned, chimpapila, and many others. Some of them, we don't even have English names for them because they are simply indigenous. So before now, vegetables also used to include fruits, but now fruits are in a group of their own because they contain other nutrients that may not necessarily be abundant in vegetables. For example, the fruits are very colorful, very rich in vitamin C because of that sourish taste. So in a 24-hour period, what we are saying is eat at least one food from each of these. For example, for breakfast, you can have a banana, an orange. You've eaten from the fruit group. Then maybe you have a slice of brown bread. You've eaten from the cereals. Maybe at lunchtime, you eat your ifsashi, which you have eaten from the legumes because of the groundnuts, and also you've eaten from the vegetables. So you combine within a 24-hour period, at least eat from each one of these. Because if you eat, as you said, in shima morning, shima afternoon, then your diet really becomes monotonous and you are not getting the variety of nutrients that are needed for your body. We also mostly talk about dietary diversity. Shima alone just won't do it, especially for children, for pregnant women who are eating not only for themselves, but eating also on behalf of the unborn baby. Mothers who are lactating or breastfeeding, they really need to eat all kinds of nutrients so that they also nourish the baby that they are breastfeeding or the baby who's yet to be born. Now, I just quickly want to say that on our markets now, there are a lot of foods that are not nutritious, and you find sometimes babies or small children under 5 are fed these foods. For example, foods like jiggies, fast foods which are heavily fried. We are beginning to see, obesity among children. And this is because children are being fed foods which they are not really supposed to be fed. When you go into a school and ask the kids to bring their lunch boxes, you open those lunch boxes and see what they have been given to eat at break time. It's not nutritious food. Why not pack a fruit for a child instead of a few biscuits and maybe a Fanta and all those things? You can pack a piece of, for example, cassava for a child to eat at school. Pack some nuts for that child, and nuts are very rich in oils that are good for brain development. So we want to bring these messages to our people so that children from a young age can appreciate our indigenous foods. Yes.
Well, viewers, let's take a break. It's 60 years of independence. Welcome to Zambia at 60. I am Alice Banda.
I'm Juliet Mtale.
Now, Juliet, We are heading towards 24th of October when Zambia attained its independence. Something worth to remember.
Indeed, Alice, something worth to remember, so memorable, a good thing to walk to freedom. Join us on Zenith TV as we bring to you different independence stories from across the country. Watch Topstar Channel 6 DTT
and Channel 458 DTH.
Don't miss.
Welcome back. This is Zambia at 60, and we are looking at the National Food and Nutrition Commission of Zambia, NFNC, and its contribution over the past 6 decades in maintaining and improving the country's nutrition status. And to help us discuss this issue or this matter, we have NFNC Executive Director, Dr. Mapani Muntanga, and we are speaking to her from her office. What are some of the most significant achievements of NFNC in addressing malnutrition and food insecurity in Zambia over the past 60 years?
Yes, so as I mentioned already, we are coming from an area where the nutritional status of the country was not okay. But over time, we have brought it down, the stunting levels, but obviously would like to do much better. Now, one of the flagship programs that has been implemented in Zambia since 2010 is the Scaling Up Nutrition. This is a program that focuses on children under 2, and it's a program that is implemented in a multi-sectoral way, where all the different government departments come together at household level to implement the changes that need to happen for a household to be food secure. So the NFNC has been at the forefront of making sure that this program is implemented, that this program is well coordinated, bringing all the players to the table, so that the interventions are converging at household level. And so when we look back, this is a very, very important achievement that Zambia has achieved. But apart from that, we recently launched our food consumption and micronutrient status survey. This is a survey that was done by the NFNC. We went to all parts of Zambia and looked at what are people eating. Are they eating enough nutrients? What are the micronutrient deficiencies that still exist in our communities? And this report is now ready, and we are sharing this report. What this report does is to give direction to government in terms of policies. What is it that we need to do? For example, I'll tell you that all the sugar in Zambia for home consumption should be fortified with vitamin A. Okay? We went throughout the country and found out that some of the sugar, even if it's labeled that it's fortified, is actually not fortified. So some sections of our population are eating sugar which is not fortified. And that's where the micronutrient deficiencies come from. For example, also we found out that a lot of our children are not consuming enough calcium. And calcium is found in foods like dairy products, eggs, and the meats that we eat. So it means that people are not consuming enough of these foods. So what are the measures that we need to put in place? So we are already working on that through government and the cooperating partners. So for me, these are important achievements that we then need to amplify so that we can bring all this information to the fore. And there are a lot of other, achievements that we have done, yes.
Doctor, what are the biggest challenges NFNC has faced in ensuring food and nutrition security in Zambia?
So the NFNC is mandated to bring about programs that will address food and nutrition in Zambia. Obviously, we are a grant-aided commission from government. We are supposed to get our funding from government and run all the programs that are needed in Zambia. But our funding is not adequate. Sometimes we do rely on cooperating partners to run some programs. So for me, that is the biggest challenge, because sometimes, as a commission, we have a vision. We know where we want to be, but sometimes when you are not enabled in terms of finances, it can be a challenge to run. So we are dependent on cooperating partners. Cooperating partners have been very, very helpful. They've run with us. Like, for example, the program that I alluded to, the Scaling Up Nutrition, has mainly been driven by cooperating partners. But as a government, we also need to put in money into the commission so that we can run with programs as opposed to always waiting on our partners.
Zambia has over 100 districts. Is NFNC present in all the districts?
So with the program that we are running, the Scaling Up Nutrition, unfortunately we are not in all the 116 districts. We are only in about 36 districts. And what that means is that we actually call them smart interventions from the Scaling Up Nutrition. They are only being implemented in these 36 districts. And when we say that, we are talking about in a systematic way, because there are structures on the ground that we need to make, through which the implementation of this program will be done. We are working with the district commissioners through the provincial administration office, where we have structures, where we have a district nutritionist who then works with community structures at both ward level and zone level to make sure that the households that need these interventions are there. So that is one of our biggest challenge. We are not in all the districts, and sometimes forming these structures is a challenge because it needs financial muscle in order to be on the ground and implement these interventions.
The president declared the situation that we have right now, the drought situation, as a national disaster and an emergency. As NFNC, when there's such a situation, obviously there's hunger, there's malnutrition. How do you help the situation, or how do you handle the situation?
Right, so the NFNC does not work in isolation. We work with stakeholders, both government and also non-government. So the NFNC is the head of the nutrition cluster at DMMU level. And we have recently, from the time that the president declared the country a drought and disaster situation, we have actually gone ahead to form structures in the districts, especially in the drought-affected districts, through which we work. We want to have people on the ground who will tell us what is happening on the ground, where is the most help needed, and how much of that help is needed. Remember that we usually concentrate on vulnerable groups, and the vulnerable groups include children under 5, women who are pregnant and lactating. We also include elderly people, the disabled. Where are these people? Are they receiving the necessary humanitarian aid that they need? So we have people on the ground. We are working again, even in the districts. We work with our partners, the DMMU, Ministry of Community Development, Agriculture, and so forth, so that that information can be collected and problems can be solved at that level.
As we draw close to the end of this interview, Zambia this year, 2024, celebrates 60 years of independence. What plans have you put in place as NFNC?
We are very, very excited here at the Commission about the 60th birthday of Zambia. Zambia is an old man now, being 60. So we are very excited, and we are trying to put together programs that we are going to bring to the Zambian population to highlight what the Commission has done, what are the important achievements that we have managed to garner over the years. It hasn't been all roses. We have tried to learn from what we've not been able to do. What is it that we can do best? So I want to let your viewers know that they should look out for programs that will bring to them, teaching about nutrition and how we see the future of Zambia in terms of.
Dr. Muntanga would like to thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to speak to you on Zambia at 60 program. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. The pleasure is mine.
On that note, dear viewers, we come to the end of Zambia at 60 program, where we featured the National Food and Nutrition Commission. Bye-bye.
Zambia, we shitty shit.